Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring something called the beggar mindset.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than just, spare change.
Right.
We're talking about a way of thinking that can really shape how we see resources, opportunities, even our own potential.
Yeah.
And to help us unpack all this, we've got some really great sources lined up, a YouTube podcast script,
Okay.
and some fascinating research on this very topic.
Cool.
So to kick things off, have you ever felt like there's just never enough to go around?
Oh, yeah. I think that's a feeling a lot of people can relate to. And it's often tied to this idea of a beggar mindset, you know?
Okay.
And what's fascinating is there are two sides to this.
Oh.
There's the literal sense, like individuals who beg, often shaped by really tough situations.
Right.
But then there's this metaphorical beggar mindset, which is
Right.
that scarcity mentality that anyone can fall into.
So like two sides of the same coin.
Exactly.
On one side, we have the very real struggles some people face, and on the other, this more general feeling of never having enough.
Yeah, regardless of your actual circumstances.
Right, and that's where I think it gets really interesting because it connects with Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset.
Absolutely. A
Okay.
growth mindset focuses on potential, on possibilities.
Yeah.
While the beggar mindset kind of gets stuck on limitations on what's lacking.
So it's like two completely different ways of seeing the world. One sees opportunity and the other just sees what's missing.
Yeah.
But what causes someone to develop this beggar mindset in the first place? I mean, it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's rarely simple. The sources we're looking at today point to a few key factors, and one of the biggest is trauma and adversity.
Okay.
Think about it. If you've constantly faced hardship, your brain starts to expect scarcity. It's like a survival mechanism.
Oh, so it's like your brain's on high alert, expecting the worst.
Exactly. And sadly, it's not just personal experience. Societal systems play a role too. Poverty cycles, lack of access to education, decent jobs.
Yeah.
These things create an environment where scarcity becomes the norm.
When basic needs are a constant struggle.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine anything beyond just surviving, let alone abundance.
Right. It's a vicious cycle. Scarcity breeds more scarcity, making it so tough to break free.
Absolutely.
But how do those cognitive biases you mentioned fit into all of this?
Ah, yes, the scarcity trap.
The scarcity trap.
That's where Senhil Mullainathan's research is so insightful. He shows how insidious this mindset can be. Imagine you're constantly worried about money.
Okay.
That worry, it consumes your mental bandwidth,
Hmm.
leaving you with less capacity for planning, for decision-making.
So you're dealing with the lack of resources.
Right.
And your brain power is being drained by the stress of it all.
Exactly. The YouTube script uses this example of Maria, a single mother working 3 jobs.
Oh, wow.
Imagine the constant pressure she's under, bills, kids' rent.
It's like she's always putting out fires, no time or energy to even think about long-term solutions.
That's really tough.
It is.
And it shows how this scarcity trap keeps people making reactive choices instead of, empowering them to make strategic decisions,
Mhm.
decisions that could lead to a better future.
Absolutely.
But how does all of this affect our day-to-day lives?
Yeah.
How does this beggar mindset actually show up in our actions and interactions?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's what we're going to get into next.
Awesome. I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
So we've talked about how this beggar mindset kind of, develops and the toll it takes on our mental resources.
Right.
But how does it actually play out in our behavior? What are some telltale signs that someone might be caught in this scarcity mentality?
Well, one thing you often see is this tendency toward fear-driven choices. It's that constant feeling of not enough,
Right.
which can lead to people hoarding resources even when they don't really need to. It's like that feeling of needing to cling to what you have
Yeah,
because you're so scared of losing it.
exactly. And that fear can also show up as extreme risk aversion.
Oh, okay.
Why take a chance when you feel like you're barely hanging on, right?
Right.
Feels safer to just stick with the familiar,
Yeah.
even if it's not really fulfilling or moving you toward your goals.
It's almost like the beggar mindset creates this self-imposed cage,
Yeah.
keeping people trapped in this limited view of what's possible.
Right.
And I imagine this can seep into our relationships too.
Absolutely. When scarcity is your dominant lens, relationships become very transactional.
Oh, okay.
It shifts the focus from genuine connection
Yeah.
to what can I get from this person?
Mm.
So instead of mutual support and growth,
Yeah.
it becomes about taking what you can get,
Right.
even if it means exploiting others.
So the beggar mindset not only affects our individual choices,
Right.
but it can damage the trust and reciprocity that healthy relationships need.
Exactly. And remember that Harvard study we talked about?
Yeah.
The one where participants primed with scarcity did worse on cognitive tests.
Yeah, that was a pretty powerful study.
It really highlights that this isn't just about feelings. There's
Yeah.
a real measurable impact on how our brains function when we're in a scarcity mindset.
It's like scarcity literally drains our brain power,
It does.
making it even harder to think clearly and break free.
Yeah. It's a tough cycle, but there is hope.
Okay.
The YouTube script lays out a path from scarcity to abundance, and it starts with 3 key steps:
Okay.
awareness, gratitude practice, and community.
So let's break those down. What does it mean to cultivate awareness in this context?
It's about becoming more mindful of your thoughts, especially those automatic scarcity thoughts,
Oh, okay.
the ones that just pop up throughout the day.
Yeah, like I'll never be able to afford that,
Exactly. Or there's just not enough to go around.
right? Those sneaky thoughts that can sabotage us without us even realizing it.
Yeah. And the key is to catch those thoughts and reframe them.
Okay, so instead of saying I'll never afford that, you ask yourself, how can I reach that goal?
Exactly. Or how can I create more opportunities?
So it's about shifting from feeling like a victim
Yeah.
to taking an active problem-solving approach.
You got it. You're taking control of your thoughts and focusing on possibilities instead of limitations.
Right.
It's a subtle shift, but so powerful. And this leads us to the next step, gratitude practice.
I've heard a lot about gratitude, but how does it help us escape the beggar mindset?
This is where the science gets really exciting. There's growing evidence that regularly practicing gratitude can actually rewire our brains.
Wow. So by simply acknowledging and appreciating the good things in our lives,
Yeah.
we can actually change our neural pathways.
That's the idea. The YouTube script suggests keeping a gratitude journal
Okay.
where you write down things you're grateful for each day.
Mhm.
It could be anything: a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal, a kind word from a stranger.
It's about training our minds to notice the abundance that's already there.
Right, even amidst challenges.
Yeah.
And over time, this practice can shift our whole perspective,
Okay.
leading to a more positive and abundant outlook.
But individual effort is only one part of it. Right.
Right, that's where community comes out.
Why is community so important in this process?
Well, while individual mindset shifts are essential, abundance isn't a solo pursuit.
Mhm.
It thrives in environments of collaboration and mutual support.
The YouTube script really emphasized that abundance grows when people uplift each other.
Absolutely. Think about it. When we share resources, knowledge opportunities,
Yeah.
we create a ripple effect that benefits everyone.
So instead of seeing others as competition for limited resources,
Right.
we recognize that we're all in this together.
Exactly. It's about understanding that a rising tide lifts all boats.
I like that.
And when we approach life with this mindset, we create a more abundant reality for ourselves and everyone around us.
Wow. So we've really covered a lot of ground today,
Yeah.
starting with how this beggar mindset takes root and then how it affects everything, our thoughts, our actions, even how our brains work.
It's a pretty far-reaching mindset.
It is, but I think the most encouraging part has been exploring that shift from scarcity to abundance.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, one of the most powerful examples of this is John's story from the YouTube script. Remember?
Yeah.
He went from being homeless to running a nonprofit. Talk about a transformation.
It's incredible. It really shows that abundance isn't about how much you have, but about how you see yourself and the world.
Exactly. And John put it so well when he said, abundance isn't having more, it's believing you're enough.
That really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it?
It does. When we recognize our own worth,
Yeah.
when we believe in our own potential,
Yeah.
that's when we can approach life with generosity and openness to possibilities.
And it's from that place of inner security, like Stephen Covey said,
Yes.
that true abundance can flourish.
Right. It's not about chasing external validation or material things.
Right.
It's about cultivating a deep sense of self-worth and letting that shine outwards.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the beggar mindset, what's one key takeaway you hope our listeners will take with them?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that even if you've been living with a scarcity mindset, it's never too late to change.
Yeah.
Start small.
Yeah.
Become aware of your thoughts. Practice gratitude. Find ways to contribute to your community.
Yeah.
These small actions can create a ripple effect, leading to a more abundant and fulfilling life.
This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you some new ideas and inspired you to explore this abundance mindset in your own lives.
The world is full of abundance. We just need to open our eyes and hearts to see it.
So true. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open.